happening, everyone? Today, we finally have a Chad on the show.
In the flesh.
Chad, so you had recently you had a business.
Yeah.
Which forklift business?
Yeah, San Francisco Forklift Company.
Okay. And so I'm always interested in how like people handled because you had it during COVID too, right? Mm-hmm. How'd you make it through?
Well, I'll tell you what, I didn't. Right off the bat. So I've always been a bit of an entrepreneur. You know, I don't fall in line. You know, I don't like to follow rules. I don't like to fit in with the crowd. For example, my Beetle's name Kiefersaft, which is German for Beetlejuice, because you see the same things sometimes, so many times. The silver Chevelle, the red Mustang, you see the same styles all mixed together. I like to go against the grain, you know. So I originally, a long time ago, I had a business called Mechanics on Wheels, and I had all my tools in the back of the Suburban. An electric air compressor running on a power inverter, hooked up to double batteries, and I would come to your house and do the oil change right there in front of your house, repairs, anything like that. I had Mike Stent with me, who was a bit of a disaster.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of Mike Stent.
Yeah, a good friend of mine. Rest in peace, brother. Yeah. I miss him to death. Yeah, you know, in fact, we were making $40 profit off a water pump one time, and he broke the water pump, and we had to spend the profit to get another one and just even out.
Oh.
But so I tried a couple of times. I also thought I was going to be a real estate guru, and that did not work at all. Partially because, you know, it was hard to get funding for a flip, but also because it ended up to be, we really kind of had to screw people to get a good enough deal on a place to make enough profit, you know, to make it worthwhile. And I just didn't like the vibe. You know, I didn't like all these rich guys with their noses in the air and just the you know, the way it rolled. So I worked for Eldorado Forklift for about 10 years. You know, I was good friends with those dudes. I was their top mechanic. Mm-hmm. Mechanics are hard to come by, and that's part of the story too. You know, I was there forever. You know, I was top dude, and so COVID hits, and I'm working like, man, 90, 100 hours a week, right? Weekends, working at least every other Saturday. And so they come to me and they go, hey, man, you know, everything's slowed down, right? So we got to have you dial it back to 40 hours. No problem, but I still need the money, right? So I decided I'm going to start doing side jobs, but not for their customers. Like, I have integrity, which nobody seems to believe, but, you know, they always come back later like, oh, you are a good dude. Right on. You know, we could have started with that, but that's fine. And so, you know, I wouldn't work for any of their customers. I wouldn't step on their toes like that. You know, this is the company that fed my family. We'd been at each other's house barbecuing. My daughter, to this day, rides a bike that she got from him, from the boss. So I even bought my own truck, you know, so I wouldn't be using their truck. Well, he finds out about it, and I don't think it bothered him so much, but it bothered his wife. And she stayed on him about it for about a week, and he comes to me one morning and he goes, look, man, I got to let you go over this. I thanked him at the time because I was trying to do both. I was trying to do these side jobs, which were rapidly spinning out of control. I was getting so many calls, and my loyalty was to them. You'd think you'd see that. So they let me go, which was dumb. They have, to this day, not replaced me at mechanic level wise. In fact, it went bad from there. My brand new van that I had not let a scratch happen to. They got me a brand new van. I cared for this like it was my van. The first thing that happens is they hire a guy with drug problems who pulls up to the shop with a transsexual hooker in the back, a bunch of Bibles from the 1500s, and he had wrecked the van and was trying to hide it from Matt. So, I mean, it's spun out of control from there. First year I did two, well, let me back up. When he fired me, I went out and I knew it was coming. So I formed the LLC, and I figured, you know, you like the Spider-Man into the U-verse. It's just a leap of faith, Miles. That's all it is. Right. So I took the leap of faith and I started the LLC. I typed in San Francisco Forklift. Nobody had ever come up with that name. So $1 million name, in my opinion. And he fired me, and I went out on my own. I actually took 22 of their customers with me. I had let people know in that last week, hey, I'm starting a company. You know, here's my card. Here's what's up. And a good section of people followed me. And then just to keep the peace, I turned around and I went right back to them and started buying parts off them, which was part of me redeeming my name there. About a year later, they were talking crap and the just randomly, you know, about me, obviously. And Jay told them, hey, you know, You should see how much in parts he bought off us. You made more money off of him as a competitor than you did when he was an employee. I bought something like $60,000, $65,000 worth of parts from them in 1 year. So then they became my friends, and we did a lot. I mean, we did good work together. They actually, I would underbid them, not on purpose. You know, you don't know who's bidding. On like a battery job, for example, forklift batteries about $10,000, $15,000. And man, they would get the battery from the battery company delivered to them, set it up, install it at my customer, and wait for me to get paid to pay them. And you would think there's like conflict of interest, but everybody makes money.
Yeah.
They made money on the price of the battery. I made money making phone calls. The customer got their battery, and it worked out. We had a great working relationship. So first year, $260,000 in sales. Pretty good for, you know, one dude. And then the second year we did like 280 something, close to 290, and the third year I cracked 300,000 in sales just in San Francisco. You know, I had 17 calls a day. I was making roughly 30,000 a month, you know, in sales, bringing home about 10 grand a week in profit. You know, and treating people fairly. I mean, you know, I was only charging 30%. You know, 30 to 40% markup on any of my parts. Everybody else is 60, 70, sometimes 80. I don't like to do that. You know, I don't think anything got by ill means is going to last. It brings bad juju with it. So you're going to screw up anything you spend it on.
So was it mostly parts that you were selling, or was it service too?
I did everything. And that might have been part of the problem was I did PMs, preventative maintenance. So I come out, do the oil change, lubrication, inspection, you know, air filter, brake adjustment, all that stuff. Which you wouldn't believe how negligent a lot of mechanics are. They won't get down and like just hit the grease fitting. You know, it's too much to bend down, I guess. And brake adjustments, no, nobody doing that. And I mean, it's, you know, these are people's safety here. I feel like those are important issues. And not only that, but, you know, there's a thin line, but you're looking for stuff that might break. A, to cover your butt, and B, to get more work for yourself, and C, to keep your customers' forklift in good running condition. On top of that, I was doing the emergency repairs, which were the primary, you know, the bulk of the business. People blow a hydraulic hose all the time, coolant hoses, oil leaks, you know, brakes. I've had to knock wheels off, you know, all kinds of stuff. Trench plate broke a fork, which is pretty scary.
Oh, really?
Oh, God, yeah, on a 35,000-pound forklift, too. Who knows who dealt with that?
You ever have one of those that are still the electric ones that have like 20 batteries on them?
So those are the older ones. The newer ones, they're not actually individual batteries. They're individual cells, which is actually how all batteries are. They're individual 2-volt cells, you know, 6 for 12 volt, you know, 12 for, you know, 48 and on and on. So they're actually all individual cells. Most of those are you know, they're pretty hefty. Hence the reason they're $10,000, $15,000. They also weigh between 3,000 and 5,000 pounds. So you generally need another forklift to unload and load the batteries. But yeah, I did maintenance, you know, electric battery maintenance. I had a warranty in all my batteries that I sold. So, you know, like I wouldn't sell the watering systems because they get clogged and then one cell doesn't get enough water. I'll do it each one, you know, Jeez, here it goes again.
Yeah, are you like, do you have something that's rubbing up against there?
It might be the cable.
Oh, it could be. Yeah, it's probably the cable. It's probably rubbing up against the spring.
There.
That was what it was.
Permanently nailed it.
Hey.
Again.
Yeah. Look at us.
We fix it right because we fix it twice. So, you know, yeah. So emergency repairs, all electric. I'm fascinated with electronics and electricity itself. So I've studied in depth, and I'm really good at wiring. A lot of guys don't want to touch it. It's fun. It's always something simple. It's never like the big, it's the computer. No, it's always like a sensor.
Well, it's never the actual fixing that's the problem. It's the diagnostic.
The diagnostic, yeah. Anybody can change a part, although some of that's difficult too. But it's the diagnostic. And I tell people all the time, if you don't know what's wrong, you don't understand how the system works. Start at step one, learn how the system works, how everything works together as one unit. And when you know that, the problem makes itself obvious. I mean, I'm famous for coming in 13 seconds, boom, that's the problem. For example, there was one that the Eldorado, the guy did a head gasket on this thing because it would start, run, and die. He does it. I told him it wasn't a head gasket. They did it anyway, and the problem remains. You know what it was? I found it in 10 minutes.
A vacuum leak?
Well, no. So it was out at the Cow Palace, and it was used to move bales of hay around. So a piece of hay got into the gas tank, and the pickup tube, it was in the pickup tube, and it was too long to come out naturally. So it would fire up, and it would run, and the suction would suck the piece of hay up, and it would block the fuel, and it would run out of fuel.
How did it get in there?
And then it would float back down the tube, and they'd fire it up, and it gets sucked up, block fuel, and then go back down the tube. Who knows? Probably from refueling. They were probably in the middle of moving hay, refueled it, a little piece got in there, and that's what it was. You know, I noticed what was happening was it didn't have fuel when it died. So I started taking apart the fuel system, started at the tank, found it, 10 minutes, it was right there. But anyway, that's getting sidetracked a little bit. So PMs, I did the maintenance, I did the emergency repairs, and then also rentals and also towing with my diesel F-250. On top of that, I rented a parking lot because I have no credit and no money. I actually started the business with the money, all that COVID money they were giving us, I saved it all because I didn't necessarily need it. We live humbly. So I had 16 grand in COVID money. And that's what I used as the basis to start the company. You know, I made money just doing tows. I made money selling parts. People called me just to buy a part. But I had to I rented a couple places. I started at a buddy of mine, Bob Jr.'s Towing. Sorry, Bob, you guys are dicks.
Shout out, Bob.
Yeah, shout out to Bob's Towing, you bunch of assholes. No, the boys were cool, but I actually got in. I promised God when I got out of prison I would never be violent with somebody again unless it was self-defense. Bro, 10 years without an altercation with anybody. I'm really proud of that. From fighting every week to 10 years. And this guy gets in an altercation with me, man. It sucked. But I did good. I wiggled out and I got out of there. I was just renting a corner of their yard. Mm-hmm. When they found out I was making more money annually than they were, all of a sudden things changed. Like they became total assholes. They come over, is that ours? Is that ours? It was like, it went real negative just out of jealousy,
I could see that.
I mean,
jealousy, right?
But I was making them tons of money because they're a tow service. So I was paying them to tow my forklifts back and forth and forklift batteries. I mean, they were making an extra $5 grand a month off me. And the sons begged their dad. They're like, "Why are you doing this? Don't kick him out. He's making us money." And we're like, we're critical. So, but once we got to the guy got on my face, bro. I had this quick decision where I'm like, man, should I take this dude down? And
what was he? Was he in your face, shouting like this? Could you feel the spit on your face?
Yes, he was. And the last time that happened was in juvenile hall. I don't know how explicit we can be on this.
Oh, we can be as explicit as we want.
Cool. I was in solitary, and Mr. Strickland, who happened to be of African American descent.
Shout out, Mr. Strickland.
Yeah, bag of dicks. He said, your brother's coming in, and I'm gonna put him in a cell where somebody's gonna rape him. And I punched him square in the mouth. I could smell the sunflower seeds on his mouth. He was so close, and I cracked him. And
damn,
that's what
he said that.
Yeah, juvenile hall was absolutely horrendous. It was a lot of kids didn't make it that went to juvenile hall. I'm actually part of a class action lawsuit. All these years later, they're finally going to catch up to some of the atrocities that happened in there. A lot of rapes, a lot of molestation, a lot of weird stuff like that. And Mr. Dominiconi in particular. That's a whole another story.
Wow,
bro.
We're doing shout outs all day.
Yeah, that's another. Well, he died in 2020, thank God. But these guys were garbage. Hey, look, a broken kid. He's perfect for abusing. They told us too, 3% of you will not end up in the pen. The rest of you are going to go on to live an illustrious. And he was right. I did end up in the penitentiary at some point. Just broken kids, man. Broken kids. That was a throwaway generation. And my parents were alcoholics, beat the hell out of me, molested by both my mom and my dad. And I took care of my mom to the end of her days, but I fucking hated her. And I was so glad when she died in 2020. She was an evil monster. And my dad just passed away. And it's funny because he molested me and not my brother. So I told him in 2020, Mom died. Mason's still on heroin on the streets. And he goes, they tell me I got dementia. I don't remember Mom or Mason, but it's good to hear your voice. And I'm like, how was that special? All right, that's creepy. But he's out of it and he doesn't know anybody now. They always wanted me to confront him, but let sleeping dogs lie. He'll answer to Jesus when it's time. And and I'm obviously the opposite because I can't stand the sound of a kid even crying or in any distress. It kicks in the savior thing in me right away. I don't get how people are like that. They're monsters. They're not human. They're alien descent or they're possessed with a demon. You can't be human and hurt a child.
Right, yeah. I mean, that's the thing, right? It's it's like that's what you think, like the lizard people, and that's what people think, like with the Bohemian Grove and like that kind of like Pizzagate and all that, you know.
I ask God all the time, let me kill one of them. Come on, man, just let me take one of them out. But
allegedly,
no, allegedly, yeah. With kindness, of course. With but I hate people. How can you hurt a kid? I've got my own kids, and I'm like, I don't want them to scrape their leg. When Joy broke her arm on her dirt bike, I mean, I cried more than she did. she didn't even trip. And I'm like, oh, my girl's got a mark on her, and she was just bummed out they had to cut her Spider-Man suit off the first time she was on the dirt bike. Of course, that led to now the dirt bike is her thing. I mean, she can't be separated from it. And she'll sit on it and be like, Dad, I want to go dirt biking.
Man, those dirt bikes, I won't. I'll do a lot of things, but I won't get on a dirt bike.
Really? Oh, I just was raised that way, man.
There were these guys that I used to get in fights with in high school. It was just like this one group of people, right?
What a great place high school is.
Always, right? It was like the last year of middle school on, right?
Yeah.
Because so it was always when I had to walk by their house, and so they'd always fuck with me. And one day, like the older brother, who was also fucking with me and tried to like run me off the road a couple times.
God. Yeah, of course.
Like he was on a dirt bike and he went up in the air and he came down and he's paralyzed.
Oh.
And so I was like,
oof.
Man, the evil thoughts. I was like, nice.
Right. Especially now as a Christian, I'm supposed to be like, pray for your enemies. No, screw that guy.
But fuck, that's karma right there. That's some real shit.
Well, bro, yes. And if you sow seeds of negativity, and the universe is a mirror, bro. It mirrors your energy back at you. I've watched it do this to me. I've told a lock one time, fuck you. And I hit the lock and it bounced back and it hit me. And I'm like, instantaneous reflecting my energy back at me. Mm-hmm. That's when I stopped talking negatively and stopped saying negative things. Even just now at the state, mobile home title registration place, the guy's like, it can't work for this. It can't work for that. I go, brother, are you an American or an American? You focus more on reasons why.
What did he say to that?
And he just was like, he didn't really know what to say. I go, look, focus on ways that we can make it work. I tell the kids, enjoy your non-negative moments because negativity is coming. Mm-hmm. No matter what, you can't get away from the bad times. They're going to come. Why waste the good times being upset when you know there's bad times coming? We don't know the cup of suffering the Father has prepared for us. That's what Jesus said. Father, when he was praying in the Olive Garden, he's like, God, I just realized I'm going to have to do this human and it's going to suck, basically. And can we do it any other way? No answer. I get that all the time, right? No answer. And he goes, all right, should I not drink of the cup of suffering my Father's prepared for me, right? I think about that all the time. This is my cup of suffering, even right now. This is my cup of suffering. But you can choose how you react to it, right? You can't choose how you die, but you can choose how you face it so that you're remembered as a man, right? I choose to face my disasters head on. I choose to face fear head on. I had a deathly fear of water, so I bought a boat and a kayak. Right?
Whoa, fear of water?
Yes, I almost
drowned. For drowning?
Yeah, I almost drowned on my 5th birthday when my mom, drunk and on drugs, surprise, I fell into the deep end of the pool at, on my 5th birthday. And I vaguely remember floundering underwater before my stepdad, goddad, the dude my mom was banging, did rescue me out of the water. And I remember having to, black and then coming back to mouth. They had to, pump water out of my lungs, actually. And I was deathly afraid of water. But I love the challenge. And I kind of feed on fear and chaos. I am my calmest and most at peace in chaos, which is quite useful.
So are you still like that with water? You just deal with it?
Not at all. I still for some reason big deep swimming pools bother me. But not like the bay. I've been out kayaking all in the bay. I've gotten in trouble in the bay over there at the old shipyards, the Navy shipyards. Well,
Mothball Fleet?
Mothball Fleet in San Francisco.
Oh, in San Francisco.
Yeah, in Hunters Point. So the water
everybody gets in trouble there.
Yeah, water hits there and comes back, and there's this cyclone that is almost impossible to escape. And the SEALs saved my life. Me and Danielle were actually out there, and she was a rookie at kayaking too. We got to where I was paddling my ass off and not moving at all. I mean, just barely not getting sucked into this where the water just naturally swirls. And the SEALs were like, "Hey, idiots! you're going to drown. You should follow us. And they kept coming and leaving. And sure enough, they know where the currents meet. And so they guided us right through where the currents were. And then all like did a dance when we got to the shore and took off. And it was profound. And I've had a lot of profound moments like that, you know, because I'm just open to the experience.
Was it a seal or like a sea lion?
Oh, I'm sorry. I always do that too. I call them sea otters once in a while too.
Oh, is it a sea otter?
No. They're the sea lions. You know,
sea lions, yeah.
They're famous. They're cool, man. They're like water dogs. And they totally saved their life. And I've heard them doing that to other people where they're like, oh, these stupid humans are going to die. We better get them out of here.
Sometimes they can be assholes too.
True.
I mean, I've seen one where they like drag this little girl in and like they got her, you know, they got her out, but like.
Well, I mean, they don't have hands. Yeah. You know what I mean? So the dogs, too, they'll bite the shit out of you, but they're really trying to get you out of the water.
Yeah.
You know, but also they never shut up. I don't know if you've ever lived by them in the city. Yeah. They never shut all night long. Arr, arr. You know, you can hear people on the houseboat go, shut the fuck up. But back to the company. So, so he fires me. I thank him, you know, good old Matt. We're still great friends. I love that dude. There's no malice in him. He doesn't do anything with bad intent. You know, he's looking out for his company, his dad's company, and dad still works there at 87 years old, you know, which just goes to show how tough they were. We've been losing our toughness generation by generation.
Well, that's what happens, you know, and they lost their toughness again, like, you know,
compared to the pioneers.
Well, up until like the greatest generation, right?
Right.
They had lost it a lot, and then boom. This generation has to go through a whole lot of shit.
I'm convinced it's drugs. When they released drugs into the public, that ruined everything. That was the beginning of the downfall of America, and we're living in the bottom end of it now. You know, if you go state to state and you see all of the, you know, Kensington, Oakland, you know, L.A., Miami, these, you know, Portland, these areas are just destitute. You know?
Yeah, I mean, well, it depends on what kind of drugs, right? Like,
all drugs, you know, really. I mean, except for I don't count mushrooms,
right?
You know, as drugs.
But some people would count that.
You know, I smoke weed. It's a gateway drug. You got to keep it real, even with yourself, right? Mm-hmm. It gets you high. It leads you to.
I mean, I've seen weed fuck somebody up. Like in my family, like it's just smoking it. Like some people, it's a very small amount of people, but some people, like, boom, you hit it and you hit it just enough, and one time, like. Eventually, you're schizophrenic.
They tell you in recovery that, you know, everybody's got a different bottom. Everybody responds differently, and it's not the drug. It's the inner issue that you're running from. It's the emptiness you're trying to stuff, the lack of God, the lack of, you know, something, you know, abuse you're not dealing with, you know, whatever it may be. There's something that you're self-medicating for. So it doesn't have so much to do with the drug as with why you're using the drug. And that's why illegalizing drugs will never work. Legalizing drugs will never work. You know, parading them into different corners of society is not going to work. You know, there needs to be recovery. There needs to be a focus on dealing with the issues that are causing people to want to self-medicate. Right now, it's impossible. Because pretty much all males feel the same right now. I don't know about you, but it's really a growing sentiment. We are tired of working our asses off and have nothing to show for it. All we want is for our families to be secure. And we're out here working 60, 70, 80 hours a week and don't have shit. You can't buy a home. You can't afford anything. You know, I'm lucky. I'm a hands-on guy. I just been blessed with this ability to fix anything I touch, and I'm fascinated with knowledge. So I got myself my own education. You know, I mean, part of it in the prison system. I got my AA in prison, and I got my AWS welding certification and my auto body structural and non-structural damage analysis certifications in prison. They said I got 4 years. I'm like, I'm going to college.
What prison was it?
I went to San Quentin, which is a wild party in there. Yeah. And then Susie's house, CCC Susanville, across from High Desert.
Oh, really?
Rock and roll place. That was gladiator school. That's where I lost this tooth.
People in my family, I won't mention which one, but like he went to Pelican Bay and San Quentin. He told me some stories. It's a wild place. I mean, it's
brutal.
All the stories that you think you know are true, and then some.
Absolutely. I mean, yes, you're going to do what you got to do. You're going to click up with who you're going to click up with. I am adamantly not racist. And I think racist people are really immature.
Well, prison is segregated.
It is.
It's self-segregated almost.
I run with the Peckerwoods, you know, and I think if people would pay attention just a little bit closer, you know, white supremacy, people just hate white supremacy and they hate white supremacists. All right. And if you think Mexicans are the greatest, good. I mean, you should. They're your people. If you're black and you think blacks are the greatest, good. Support your people. How is that racist to me? You know what I mean? So by me saying whites are the greatest, I'm not saying anything about anybody else, but it's not a racist thing against anybody else, and I think that's being missed. You know what I mean? Black lives matter, of course. All lives matter. Are you kidding? Find me a life that doesn't matter.
Pedophiles.
Yeah. Okay. Good point. Yeah, I take that back. Pedophiles' lives don't matter.
You see, I've
Whichever.
There's this Instagram channel that I always see it pop up, and it's like they meet the pedophile guy at like this store.
I got something to say about that too.
And they just smack him, and and he's like, they chase him out, and they smack him, and like there's cops, of course, and
you watch and see.
It's just like sometimes it's like, man, that sucks. Then you remember, oh wait, no,
you watch.
That's one of those guys.
That the right's too fascist for me and the left's too socialism for me. I tread down the middle. Don't tread on me. I don't care what you're doing in your yard as long as somebody's getting hurt. It's not my business. We should not tread on each other. But the people who are the loudest about that, you got some of these guys, their whole life is about catching pedophiles. I have a sneaking suspicion they're the pedophile, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, I hear all kinds of stories about how he busts them up, and it's like,
good.
It feels good.
But he's the law, you see?
Yeah,
and the law has to be followed. There's a process, man. There's a democratic process. You're innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. So who are you to be vigilante justice and go out and condemn these dudes? He hasn't been in a trial, judged by 12 of his peers. You don't know. Maybe he's innocent. Even if you have him dead to rights, he deserves his due process as an American citizen. Otherwise, we're not any better than anybody else.
Well, that's why I'm surprised that, usually when they slap him around, then the cops are there and they don't do anything to the guy slapping around. Not that, like, I hate to play devil's advocate on it, but you're right. Like it's very socialism. It's very socialism. It's what's better for the people as a whole over personal. Right, which is dangerous territory, man, because I believe in personal property rights and the rights of a person over the rights of the whole of society. For instance, they tried to take guns away. Did that stop violent crime? No, not at all. Didn't stop anybody I know that has felonies from owning any number of guns because you can just order them and build them yourself. Right, so you can 3D print them now.
Yes.
If you have the rights,
I know a guy who knows a lot about that.
Well, usually those, what do they name them? The Liberators, I think they call them, because they named them after the French guns that we dropped in France.
Devcon.com. It has hundreds of different 3D printed guns, and it really, there's a lot of ingenuity. It's kind of amazing. Everything from your standard like AR-15s that are polymer. All the way up to really crazy looking guns. Stuff with like a dragon coming out the front for a barrel. It's really fascinating. It's really neat.
Yeah, well, actually, a friend of mine, when I was working in sports, he had a plastic AK.
Oh, cool!
Right, and so he gave it to me to hold, and I held it, but I had long sleeves on, so I did the sleeve thing. I did the sleeve.
Right.
I held it with the sleeves, and he's like, "Man, you don't have to worry. Like my gun, like you're good." And I was like, he never, better safe than sorry.
True.
3 weeks later, his whole house gets raided by DEA because I guess his roommate was involved in some kind of cartel.
Oh, wow.
And and they seized all that shit. So
crazy.
I was like, whoo!
Crazy.
Good thing I wore long sleeves that day.
Yeah, no, yeah, really.
Because I felt like a douche doing that, because it's like, I know, but I'm glad I did.
Yeah, no, that was smart.
He's passed away now, so R.I.P.
Rest in peace, brother. And for me too, even my enemies, the beef is over when they're dead. I don't talk crap about the dead. That's just saying right. They're dead. Come on. You don't owe me that $20 anymore, bro.
No, you still do.
Yeah, I'm coming up there and I'm getting it. But I believe in due process, and I believe strongly in the American Constitution and in our laws. And I spent a lot of time in the law library, in prison, and juvenile hall. I did a lot of time, 3 years in juvie, 2 county years, and 4 years in prison.
That's like a master's.
It is. Yeah, it's a master's degree in life on the installment system.
PhD.
Yeah, post-hole digger. And then I went and I made something good of my life. That's really, a part of this story too. Is I went from that doing drugs and riding motorcycles with illegal guns on me and all kind of madness I got myself involved
Allegedly illegal guns.
No, I got convicted. It's fine.
Oh, okay.
They can't double try me.
Okay, they were real.
It's fine. I already got 2 strikes already. It doesn't matter. So, no, I do though. But I'm not in trouble anymore. Jesus has redeemed me. So, which is funny because that term, I even told Elijah, rest in peace, brother, that I'm not going to come to jail and get religious. I know how this goes. And man, God had other plans. Maybe we'll do that in another podcast. It was a really wild experience.
Damn.
And then a revival in the church where I led an event that we everybody's threatening to kill us on the yard, and I told them straight up, go ahead, but no weapon formed against us will prosper. You'll find yourself fighting God, not us. All the whites in the church washed all the blacks, the feet of the blacks. Feet of the blacks.
Feet.
It was a profound experience, and they were so deeply moved, they were like, we want to do it back. And I'm like, no, that is a bad optic. Like, no. Wait, man, this is...
Let me stop you there.
Yeah, this is not good. But they insisted, and it really created a tight brotherhood, and a real sense of camaraderie, and it just makes racism look so stupid. I raised the kids. I'm like, look at all the cats. We have way too many cats. Right? I love my cats. And we got all cats all different colors. Doesn't matter what the color of the cats are. We don't care if one's gray, one's black, one's brown, one's orange, right? Well, why should we care about people's color? I mean, respect to their
I think we can all agree
culture.
that those Siamese ones suck.
No, they're cool. Some of them do.
Dude, they've always
and the orange cats are
me.
The orange cats are the mean ones.
What? Really?
Those guys are the gruff ones. But
what?
Again, look, you can't group them. It's individual basis.
Man, I'm just unlucky with those Siamese cats. I see, because I remember I watched Lady and the Tramp, and those Siamese cats.
We're from the same generation.
Man, yeah. And in real life, they were like that to me.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. I had a pair of Siamese cats, and they were chill. I mean, they were chill as the other cats. The Russian blues are the good one. I love my Russian blues.
Oh yeah, those are ones with the tiny ears.
Yeah. They're they're gray. Yeah,
and they're like a little like
ears.
their head is like a circle.
Yeah, and my black cats, I think, were always the closest to me. Shadow and Seven. Shadow used to ride in my leather jacket on my motorcycle, and people would trip out on it because she'd have her front paws on the tank, and I even had little goggles that I'd made for her.
No shit.
Right? Yeah, and she'd shake them off at you once or twice a ride. I'd have to run back and pick them up off the road.
No helmet?
Yeah, no. I mean, I always wanted to, but no, she wouldn't hold it. I did. I made one out of what was it?
Like a baseball almost.
I think it was a golf ball.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and but she hated it, so but she was free. The first night that I was homeless with her, I remember she ran off, and I was like, well, that's it. Even the cat's gone. And she came back the next morning, and I was like, oh, you can trust the cat, to go in and out and wherever they want to go.
Yeah.
And so every morning she'd be curled up in the sleeping bag with me, and I'd put her back legs in my jacket. She'd rest on the tank, and we cruise, and it was cool having a road cat. And I still got a ton of cats now. And see, it's individual, man. Yeah. Everybody's individual. No two are alike. And we're all on our own trip, man. Everybody's on their, Jerry Garcia said, what a long, strange trip it's been. Good words. I mean, I agree. No two people can be grouped into any box, and humans love that because we're wired to organize things. So we wanted, these guys are all gay, and these guys are all, this. But no two are alike. I mean, there's this spectrum for almost anything you look at. I mean, there's a spectrum for autism, right?
Sure.
Right? There's a spectrum for anything. And I think the world would be at a lot better place if we would just accept each other for our weirdness, because nobody's not weird. Anything you do could potentially be weird to somebody else. I had just lost an Indian friend a couple of years ago because he found out that I eat cow, and he lost his mind. You eat the cow? How can you do this? And I'm like, hey, but if you ate a dog, I would be equally offended, right? So I wouldn't flip out like that. I'd understand there's a massive culture difference, but he didn't really want to talk to me after that. He felt because
really?
Well, they believe their relatives are reincarnated as cows. And so they won't even move a cow out of the way. If it's in the middle of the road, they'll stop and they'll just wait. They
won't even ask it to move?
No.
Like nicely?
No, I mean, in some cases where it's like critical, but for the most part, the cows, have complete free will, and they think it's their loved ones. I can't prove that right or wrong, so I'm going to let you have it. I mean, right?
Yeah, but maybe not cow. Okay, but what about deer? They can eat deer?
I don't think they have deer over in India.
Really?
I don't know. Funny thing is, I've never been out of the Bay Area, so I only know what I've learned through, osmosis. I went to San Bernardino one time and Susanville State Prison. That's about it. I've been trying to survive right here the whole time.
Well, but you're
going to Arkansas.
Yeah, you're really packing it up.
Yeah,
and leaving California.
Yeah,
forever.
No, we're not saying that. You know, it's all goodbyes are a goodbye for now. You know, I've had to say a lot of goodbyes in my life to people, you know, places, things, and sometimes they come back, sometimes they don't. But I'll get to watch it all as a movie in the end. You know what I mean? And that's another thing I tell people. Why do you want a life with no drama? What are you talking about? This is the most boring movie ever. Who wants to sit and watch the main character? You go to the theater, you pay $30 for the ticket, get your popcorn, and the main character just sits on the couch and goes to work and like nothing ever happens. He's good. He makes his money. He's successful. The kids are fine. You'd be Siskel and Ebert 2 thumbs down for that, right? Well, no, we want to see the guy get cheated on and they steal his family and he's got to blow up a building and jump out of a helicopter, right? You know.
I'd jump out of a helicopter. Sounds like fun.
I mean, I would, sure. You know, I mean, with the right equipment.
Yeah, with the right equipment.
You know, then again, never been in the air because I have a fear of flying.
What?
For some reason. Oh, we'll talk about my past life. I was Robert LeMason. I was the head mechanic at Renault. I was the lead mechanic at Renault. I lived in San Francisco, died in 1956 in a plane crash right out here in the Bay coming back from Hawaii. I got the plane. I got the guy. I got the suit. The guy's name is Robert LeMason. My dad's name is Robert. My brother's name is Mason. And I've had this recurring dream since I was a kid of hitting the water in a plane and waking up to
What kind of plane did you die in?
I don't know the name and type of the plane, but the picture my wife found terrified me immediately. It's an old, like, when planes were like silver, you know what I mean? Like, you know, like exposed metal. They weren't painted. Mm-hmm. And before uniform interiors, when she found it, she goes, I think I found a plane crash in 1956, which has for some reason been a interesting, you know, a special year to me. This all started, I mean, you know, and I'm a facts and science guy for the most part, aside from religion. I generally tend to, I want to see proof. I want to see facts, you know, show me the math, show me the science. I'll listen to anything, but if you can't prove it, I discount it. This struck me, though, because I bought a 1954 Chrysler New Yorker, and this thing was in, like, primo condition. It only had 35,000 original miles. And
damn.
Yeah, man, I love that car. And I fired it up, she fired right up, and I had the first, like, really irrational thought I think I've ever had. And I thought, all right, man, I got my car back. I thought, what a curious thing to think. This car's 80 years old. I wasn't anywhere near. I wasn't even born yet. And I wrote it off. But then more and more stuff started to come about while driving this car. I distinctly remember being in a gray suit with a fedora in this car. I would drive it to San Francisco.
A fedora?
Yeah, and I just happened to, before I got that car, when we thought we were going to be real estate moguls, you know, I have this gray fedora and this gray 3-piece suit that I look really good in from Men's Wearhouse. You know, I don't have many occasions where I wear it, you know, but I have
court.
It, you know, court, yeah, basically church, yeah, you know, and it looks killer in this car. It fits the car perfectly, and it's like uncanny. And I distinctly remember those trolleys in San Francisco from the 60s, you know, that they refurbished and put back on the tracks up there. I remember stepping off of one, putting my hat on, because back then you wouldn't wear a hat indoors. I'm a rough kid from the streets. How the hell would I know that, right? So I remember distinctly, briefcase, putting my hat on and stepping off the train to go walk to the paid parking to get my car, which was new at the time. And then, so, you know, I also, the plane, I just asked my wife, I wasn't even, she was other side of the room, and I go, just for shits and giggles, is the interior of that plane red? And she walks over and shows me the picture, and indeed it is. And it's got this, like, sailboat etched into the glass in first class, and I swear, bro, I have a false memory of touching that engraving. I like the way things, you know, feel, right? I like textures. I'm probably on the spectrum for autism.
Everything's a spectrum.
Right. But yeah, I like the way things feel. So I would have reached out and touched it. I distinctly remember being in that damn plane. I remember it hitting the damn water. And it would make sense that I've always been in love with San Francisco. My whole life, my company, everything based in San Francisco, kind of inexplicably. You know, and even now, this hurts tremendously. First off, when you start a company, it's your life. It's a living, breathing thing, just like a kid. You if you don't pay attention every day, it will die. And you have to put your money, your soul, your heart into it. You have to think fast. You know, you get employees that don't work out. Never hire a friend, dude. It's heartbreaking to fire them. And,
I know.
You know, I didn't know that. I got to learn everything the hard way, so I hired a number of people that were just not, you can train them. No, you can't. You don't have time to train them because you're too busy running everything. Like I was about to say, I rented a parking lot, is where I ended up settling in San Carlos. And you should see it. It's a whole shop out of all resourced stuff, throwaway garbage. For example, the roof of the shop is actually the awning off my neighbor's mobile home that covers the drive, the 40-foot driveway. It blew off in a storm. They had home insurance, so it covered it, and they let me have the old awning, and I nailed it on this pallet racking that I had, I cut out plywood, and then I nailed those, the slats to it, and bada boom, bada bing, bada boom, we got a roof. Almost everything in that yard is free. I found it all in the garbage because people throw stuff away, like we're just making new stuff. I guess we are, but it's wasteful. And so I had to I had to build the shop while doing the road calls, while doing the shop jobs, while doing the towing, while doing the parts, while doing the taxes, while doing the paperwork. And in the middle of that, my wife quits her job.
Oh, why?
She's a great woman. We've been married 17 years this year, so she's,
that's like a million.
That's in dog years, right? And that's why I say I'm an old junkyard dog. And she's never even yelled at me, bro. She's never even. I'm not sure if she's capable of getting upset. Which is interesting. I mean, she should have yelled at me about 1,000 times by now. I tell her sometimes, God, I don't even love me that much. Like, how do you deal with me? But she's so patient. She's an angel, but she's very simple. She's not into complex things. She's just happy to be here, which is, I love people like that. I'm complex. I'm always thinking. I'm always, challenging things, and I need drama. I need chaos, and she's just like, I've always told her, she's Emmett in the Lego movie. She's absolutely that personality. There's no malice. There's nothing. There's no negativity, and her mind is just prodigiously still. I don't want to say empty because it sounds, but right. You remember, Morgan Freeman, the wizard in the movie, says, Mogai trained for their life to get a glimpse of the creator, and yet your mind is so prodigiously empty, there's nothing to clear in the first place. And that's sort of how she is. She's just one with the creator at all times. And whatever I'm doing, even if it's stupid and probably going to fail, she's with me. Thank God for that. But quitting the job right when she did was rough. She'd been there for 10 years at this daycare, and it was driving her nuts. And
little shits.
Yeah, well, she's great at and she's in a daycare now, but and she's great. She's the only one that has patience for it. Women, right? Thank God for women. We can't raise kids because I'm like, shut the fuck up, right? But a woman, you hear that, and I got to go outside. But a woman's like, oh, you're just a baby. Oh, did you poopy again in my arms? Did you throw up in my mouth? There's such a cute little ball of freaking disgusting loudness. No, I don't. I don't feel that way. The kids are awesome. They teach us. We don't raise them. They raise us.
I mean, when my kids were little like that, when they were babies, it kind of like, I mean, I don't really miss that.
No,
I miss the toddler age when when my oldest is, but my youngest is pretty much a toddler right now.
Right now.
And it's like that's the fun age.
It is.
Where they can do things and they mispronounce things and
So true, but my daughter's 12, and I'll tell you, she's the best friend I think I've ever had. Her questions, I love answering her questions, and she knows Dad is the source of all knowledge, right? So she just asks and asks and asks away, and I tell her the raw truth about everything. I hold nothing back. And she actually just got in a fight in school. This girl pulled her by the hair out of her chair, and a couple of weak hits in the back of the head, but it's obvious this kid has trauma, and we've had long talks about trauma and broken families, right? And because me and my wife did the D word's not the divorce word. That's not a word. We're not doing that. It doesn't matter what we have to go through. We're going through it together, and both of us feel that way. And so, my daughter, a violent guy. My entire life has been violence. The last 3 cases were assault and battery, assault resulting in grave bodily injury. I mean, even now I've got my big Vietnam knife on me. I'm ready for war, bro. And yet I've taught these kids not to choose war and not to choose violence because any insect, any animal, everything in the world can be violent. Anybody can. It's not impressive, right? Impressive is peace. Impressive is turning the other cheek with reason. You have to defend yourself. But she told me one thing, Dad, you're right. The punches don't hurt. You don't feel it till the next day. I go, good, you have nothing to fear, right? Number 2, she sits on the ground. She looks up at the kid. She goes, what's going on at home that you feel this angry? I'm like, who has the forethought to ask what's going on with you after you just assaulted me.
Was she in like 6th grade or 7th grade?
6th grade, I think, yeah.
Man, that middle school time, that's a tough time too.
That's where it starts right there. But
why'd she yank her off? Why'd she yank the hair?
So she does have a mouth.
Well, who doesn't?
She's kind of had problems with this kid. And so because the last couple generations were so weak sauce, this generation prides themselves on being tough, and they talk a lot of shit to each other. And they haven't found the line yet. And not all kids are with that. Some kids, this girl's brother has been in prison for 5 years. The parents are drug addict alcoholics. It's a rough scene, and I feel bad for her too. But she was mean mugging my daughter, and Joy turns around and goes, "What are you, lesbian? What are you staring at me for? You want to make out?" And I think I don't know if I can say this, I think there's a pedo mom in that family. Because that's a thing that nobody talks about, that the majority of molestations are actually women.
Oh, wait, a what mom?
A pedo mom. You haven't heard the term?
No.
Good. This is something that needs to come out to the public.
What is it? So let's enlighten the fans. This is the first.
The majority of kidnappings, child molestation, rapes are not males, contrary to popular belief. Because check it out, man. If you see a guy that doesn't quite look right with a kid, you'll be on it, right? We all are expecting that to happen. Do you realize how the hell would a man kidnap a kid? It's nearly impossible because you're sus just for being male, all right? And being near kids, you have no business near kids. Any male, even soft, limp-wristed males, right? You'll give a woman you've never met before your kid and not even think twice about it. And they're the perverts.
Oh, I don't know about that. I would think twice about it. Like in Sacramento, the traffic capital of the world.
Do you put your kids in daycare once in a while?
Oh yeah.
How far did you vet those women?
Oh, no, it's a couple, and I've talked to him.
Okay, good for you. Most people don't.
I've actually had him on the show.
Oh, cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they're good people. I'm not saying everybody, but it's just when you start to look into it, it's the majority. It's the mom.
Well, what you have to do is you got to, if you can, reach out and call other parents that have had their kids there, or what have you.
My wife worked at the daycare, so that was my added insurance. I know my wife, and these were also people that worked for the that are in the church. We met them through the church, which is not safe. I mean, look how many church pastors and people are coming out now that have child porn on the computer and all this. It's horrendous. It's garbage. It's awful. But it's time and time again, and society's so hush hush about it. Nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to bring up the fact that, take Oprah for example. Where's those missing girls at your all-girls school? Oprah's going to come under fire pretty soon here. She's got some questions to answer. So does Taylor Swift and Jennifer Aniston.
Tay-Tay?
Yes, Jennifer Aniston's a pedo too. And Adam Sandler. You see the bit where they're talking about cheese pizza? We all know what that's an acronym for now, right? It's child porn. That's what cheese pizza means. And so Adam Sandler's going on and on about, we make the best pizza. Jennifer Aniston makes the best cheese pizza. And she goes, shut up. About cheese pizza? Shut up. Is this illegal cheese? Like
they must buy it from Wayfair.
No, it's children, and it's the thing with what's her name, Clinton, Hillary Clinton, and the what do they call it?
Shout out Hill Dog.
Yeah, soul something or other. What is it? Oh my God, man, where they do these things where they bring on the spirit of somebody, and it's like blood drinking and all this crazy stuff. I mean, she's caught red-handed doing that shit, and Dwayne The Rock Johnson too. Him and Oprah, have land on Hawaii, right where they hit it with the direct energy weapon.
Yeah. Well, we're going there pretty soon.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool. Riddle me this: aluminum melts at 1,200 degrees. Aluminum oxide melts at 3,800 degrees. Certified welder, metal guy. I know all this by heart.
I'm a well. You may have seen the welder behind me in previous episodes.
Oh yeah, actually. Running rivers of fucking aluminum wheels, huh? It's a forest fire that burned hot enough to reach over 4,000 degrees to burn the rims off of these cars, but not the trees right next to them. Interesting. And nothing blue burned. Much like, engraving lasers. If you've got a cheap engraving laser, you can test it yourself. Whatever color the laser is, put that cloth under it and it won't burn. Anything else will burn up right away. So it's all obvious. It's right in front of our faces, and people aren't paying attention. You ever looked at the pictures of paradise that burned down? My buddy's house was up there. None of the trees are burnt.
Yeah, my uncle's house burned down.
How'd you have a forest fire with no burnt trees? Right? The one car in the parking lot with literally nothing around it is burnt. Just the cover of the number pad on one of the garage door openers, just the cover got burned, huh? That's a pretty laser precise fire they got going there. And it's been happening for a long time. You know, if you look deep, you go into any of the old world stuff, you'll see the pictures that they don't want you to see, that they're calling fakes that aren't, of the blimps, the dirigibles with lasers burning up towns. You know, and you look again, look at Hiroshima, the aftermath, and Nagasaki, and then look at pictures of San Francisco after the earthquake. Very, very, very similar damage. I'm not saying an atomic bomb went off, but I went up there and discovered something I've passed 1 million times, speaking of which, in my life, on Highway 1, right, is that Highway 1? It's right where, so Sutro Baths, right? So we're told it was bathhouses. They was built by Mr. Sutro. They're not. They're old world septic systems. What pool have you ever seen that doesn't have a ledge? Right off the bat.
I don't think I've ever been there.
Oh man, you have to go.
Where are they at?
It's in your backyard, bro. You have to go see this. There is a melted brick castle there. Let the naysayers naysay. That's what they're here for. The haters are here to hate. There is a melted brick castle. I put my hand on it 10 years ago. Whoops. And I almost caught it. I told Danielle, doesn't this hillside look like brick? Why would they disguise it as a hill to look like the other hill when it's actually brick? Well, I was onto something and didn't know it. So you go to Sutro Baths. The Sutro bathhouses were down on the beach, you know, right down off the road. They did burn up. Everybody thinks it was an insurance scam. I'm sure it was, as the place was losing money, whatever. It's trippy to go look at the ruins, and a lot of people do. There's also a cave in that mountain. I have photographic evidence right here, pictures I took. If you go in and there's another cave that kind of goes out to the water, people just look, oh, the water's coming in and out in the sand. If you go down in there and look, the wall is made of brick. Tell me what mountain is made out of brick, right? And it's next to where the Sutro Baths property was. Now, that's not the interesting part. This looks like it got bombed out, which is another point I'll make later. If you go up to Sutro Heights, which is Sutro Baths is on the beach, you go up to the road, like where parking is, and then you go up that hill, there's like a lookout point. And I never bothered to look at these posts where there's bars. Looks like for the kids, don't fall out, you know, don't walk off the edge of the thing. Mm-hmm. But if you go down the little path and you turn around and look at it, it's obviously a castle. It's obvious. And there's arched doorways that you think all that dirt is collected by just wind blowing dirt in. It's piled up against these doors, these arched doorways. And then if you go back up on the road and you look, Sutro Heights is up here, and you look, it's on my YouTube, it's on my Facebook. Joy's got a piece of brick in her hand. It's melted brick. I've never seen melted stone in my life. All of a sudden, the last 2 years, melted stone is everywhere. They say, oh, it's erosion control. No, it's not. We have erosion control everywhere in the Bay Area. That's generally chunks of concrete. I get that. This is not haphazardly thrown, you know, chunks of concrete to control erosion. And why would they do that when the water's way down here anyway? And it's not from the fire. I don't know a fire that could get hot enough to melt brick. And it's nowhere, it's across the street and up the hill. But it's an entire castle. One side is severely liquefied. And the other side goes to, you can see whole bricks. On the bottom side of the bricks, you can see mosaic tile. And there's nothing about it. No history. There's nothing. You can't find any information. Several of the old world guys on YouTube have also gone out there and documented this. The bricks say T-Car. T-C-A-R-R. T-Car made bricks in Europe. What'd they do? Put 4,000 pounds worth of bricks on a sailboat and sail them. Why would they do that when we made bricks here? Speaking of which, Fort Point. You ever been to Fort Point at the base of the Golden Gate Bridge?
Wait. So why would they bring the bricks over here?
That's the question. Nobody has an answer. Why are there T-Car bricks, an entire building? And if you look at it on Google Maps, you zoom out a little bit, you can see where there was an airstrike or something happened. Something came and melted this whole world. You will find these similar melted buildings all over the world, everywhere. Buildings that were built on a rock that are now part of the rock. They're melted into the rock. All you got to do is type in old world into YouTube or Google. YouTube, you'll get a lot of guys. I follow John Levi. He's got a voice. He talks like a therapist. He's like, today we're looking at old pictures. It's very relaxing. He's very at peace.
Nice.
And all he's doing is looking at old pictures and asking, San Francisco was founded in 1849. And by 1865 was completely built out shore to shore. I mean, surveyed, plumbing laid, in a few short years. That's interesting. I don't believe in Mormonism. It's obvious. I mean, the angel's name is Moron-E. Come on, bro. Right. But it tells of the pilgrims coming out here and seeing fully completed buildings, cities that were ready to live in with nobody there. And that's why people are questioning the narrative. Were the Native Americans really living here in untouched land, or were they living outside of these buildings? You look at all of these pictures of San Francisco streets covered in mud, New York streets covered in mud. Everywhere, all over the world, you can see remains of this mud flood. And now, as the world is starting to get, denser and denser, they're starting to dig down and they're finding all these buildings that have 2 more stories. Not basements, man, but like the rest of the building is under mud. Like a giant wave of mud came through and leveled everything. And all these underground, caverns, and you start to question the what's that called, where all the skulls, and stuff are in the walls in those caves. The catacombs.
Oh yeah,
right. Why are those skulls so clean? Like there's no meat. There's like they wanted it there as a memory of these people. I think it's people that died in the mud flood. The Bible's clear that there was another civilization here that was flooded out. Every major religion tells a flood story. We're the only ones that don't know that Noah's Ark is right there. It's on the mountain. They won't let anybody too close to it. You can tour it. You can go and look at it, but they won't let anybody up to it anymore. Mount Arafat. In God, where is it, man? I'm foggy on where it's in the Middle East somewhere, and I think it's India. It's one of our allies that in the middle of the land of Canaan out there, that they have that under wraps. They're not letting anybody take samples or do anything. I mean, it's under guard. And it's way up on the top of a mountain. It begs a pretty serious question. And even just right here in San Francisco, a lot of that stuff I wouldn't have believed if it wasn't Sutro Bass.
That's crazy to think, like,
how do you melt brick?
Why would you be on a mountain of all things? You found that one mountain.
A flood.
Yeah, but like a flood, it's like, man, you were right there. Like, you're the first one to get landlocked, know?
Yeah.
You're the very first.
As the waters receded, the Bible tells, and the crazy thing is, I forget if it was a History or Discovery or another show, this white lady, right? She's young. This is maybe her first big story, right? It's your big moment. And she goes out and she's asking this like sheep farmer, like, and what do they say that is up in the hill? And he looks at her like she's a total idiot. He goes, Noah's Ark. Okay, I ain't gonna go to the sheep. Right? And then she goes to the fruit stand lady, and the lady like doesn't have time for this ridiculous question. What do you mean, what is it? It's Noah's Ark, lady. Look, you buy the shell, you buy the mango, okay? And it was interesting, her journey to go see this thing just coincidentally measures exactly what the Bible says it measures. There's apparently was DNA found of a number. I wonder if
anybody's flown like a drone around it,
So I don't know. I'm sure, but I mean, it's a strict like no-fly zone right there. I mean, they're pretty heavy on it. They took a lot of stuff out of there. They even know that about 1,000 years ago it slid down the mountain. And there's so much we don't know as Americans. We're only not even 300 years old, right? What, 300 years old? China's 6,000 years old. Dude, tell us what you know. Have you heard about quantum?
Well, China isn't really. You can't really say that anymore.
Well, they've broken apart and come back. I mean, we've had all the different dynasties.
Communist China is different than the previous China, and I think a lot of that stuff was thrown away.
I speak Cantonese, because I had so many Cantonese customers. So I don't like China's government, but I really adore the Chinese people and their language. It's so easy to speak. Ni hao, no hi Chad, hogo hinging siknate, nei sikum sikum ningmao. My name is Chad. Nice to meet you. Do you speak or not speak English?
You do Mandarin too?
No, but it's similar enough. You can kind of pick out the words. It's sort of like Latin to English. You can sort of hear the words in each other. Man, old Cantonese ladies love it. They lose their minds.
Really?
Oh yeah, they love it. And some of my Chinese homeboys are like, bro, how did you get the accent down? Like, I've been listening to you guys for 40 years. For
your whole life.
Yeah, I can tell that their tone is different, and it's in the intonation of the voice. See, as somebody who's never been anywhere, I'm fascinated with other cultures and other people and their languages. And there's so much around the world that's been hidden, that's being hush-hush about. Who knows why? Who knows if we'll ever really figure out the truth, especially now. We're entering a dangerous time with AI becoming real enough to where you cannot tell. We're just on the curb of not being able to tell. We've always had video and photo to tell us the truth.
I saw this ad for something because like the AI pictures and stuff, like people like they make pictures of people with like a sixth toe or like an extra finger or whatever. And they had like an extra finger to have so you can say, oh, that's an AI picture.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Oh, I love that. That's great. So how about, you seen the one, Kim Jong-un and Putin bringing wine to Donald Trump's house? I
haven't seen that one.
It's through the peephole in the door, and it's Kim Jong-un and Putin, and they're bringing him, and they have some other ones where like Putin is like in a rock ballad band. He's jamming on
I have
stage.
seen that one. Yeah.
I mean, it's goofy because we know the truth, but what are they? How much is AI that is not the truth that we don't recognize as AI? How easy would it be to AI bomb a city and not tell anybody that it's AI, right? If these are free, cheap apps, my music that I sent you, right? That's all AI music. I put in my own lyrics. That's a whole band, rap, blues. It sounds amazing. It's better than any music I could produce, right? And it's all AI. And I realized there's this thing, AI for the Culture, on YouTube Music, and it took me a minute to realize they were AI songs. It's songs done in 70s style. It sounds like a song from the 70s. It sounds like a record. It sounds, they nailed it, but it's Hawk Tua, spit on me, right? Can I get a Hawk Tua, spit on that thing? And you'd swear to God it was a song played in the 70s, but it's obviously not. Hawk Tua, girl's recent. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I lost my fucking vape again. Vape is also recent, so you know that's not a song from the 70s, but I was totally fooled at first. And that's where we're going. If it's there already now in free, cheap apps on Google Play, what does the government have?
Well, you got to keep following it, right? Because a lot of these things, a lot of these AI things, there's one where like a polar bear gets rescued by this boat or whatever, but you could tell the waves in it are like extra pointy or something,
what happens when you can't?
Well, what happened? Yeah, then that's
Kamala Harris.
You can't.
They modified what she said, dude, and you cannot tell.
Well, that wasn't with AI though. That was with editing.
Sure, call it what you want. It's the same thing. A rose by any other name smells as beautiful, right?
It was deceptive nonetheless, but that was with. I could do that with my editing program.
Right. So what else are they doing that with? How much of Biden is what we're seeing? How much of we're seeing was true? How much of any of it's true?
You see that one clip where he's walking next to Jill. It was like towards the end. He's walking next to his wife, and he's like way taller than her.
Oh,
and he's like because he's fluctuated apparently, and so people are thinking like. Oh, it's because those CIA guys, a lot of the time they could, the masks that they wear.
I just was going to say the skin mask.
You saw the one that they like, I forget what president it was. It was either Bush Sr., Clinton, or Reagan, but they did like a whole press briefing with a mask, and it was with somebody else, and the president didn't even know.
It only improves from there. Even on Amazon right now, and I hate Amazon. I actually don't use Amazon. I use eBay. Because I hate Jeff Bezos. I just
I know. I try. My wife keeps ordering stuff from there, and it's just
eBay's got it for cheaper.
I know.
Every time. But these things are basically like nylon with a face printed on it.
Yeah.
You put it on. You put your hood on. You can't tell that that's not you. Mm-hmm. It looks. Especially like at a distance, or if you just glance at it and you're not paying attention, it easily you get past. So what else are we seeing that's not true? You've always been able to say that's you on the camera. What happens when we can't, right? What happens to society? I think we're entering a really dangerous time, and these autonomous robots are also really scaring me. I don't like them at all, and they're weaponizing these things, of course.
Yeah, I wish they would have. I wish they instead of like weaponizing them, I wish they would have just like, I don't know, made them be coal miners or like
they are,
or like work on the oil rigs, do like. The hard shit.
That's coming. But
farming.
Tesla's already got a robot that's a home assistant.
Yeah.
And it does stuff. It cooks. It talks to you like a human.
Yeah, it's called Optimus, right? I don't like that at all.
They push it down, it gets right back up.
I don't like that it's called Optimus because it's like, that's Optimus Prime.
Optimus Prime.
You can't be a servant.
For me, right away, RoboCop, Terminator. You know what I mean? Terminator, we're there. We're at Terminator. Mm-hmm. That movie is just burning in my brain.
Minus the skin right now. It doesn't have real skin yet.
No. So far, and yes, they do. It's not in production yet, but some gang bang bong company in China, has made this thing has all plastic organs. They're all like that rubber, plasticine rubber stuff, organs. I mean, they don't. I think they do. They pump liquid. They pump like a blood. I don't know why. Why are you doing this?
Yeah, haven't we done enough with COVID?
Yeah, what benefit to society has done this, and then Fauci needs to be in jail. He's a part of that, and all the letters that are coming out from other scientists saying, "Hey, this doesn't look natural. This looks man-made, and it looks like it's a takeoff from HIV, which was also planted." And it's amazing. I didn't used to be a conspiracy theorist till 2020, and now I just got to question every freaking thing. Never in my life did I ever think I would consider flat Earth, and I wouldn't say I'm a flat earther yet. I'm not sold, but you got to wonder why the stars are in the same position every night if we're hurling through space. That seems like simple physics to me, and I'm big on. In fact, I just was showing my wife the other day. My first real read when I was a kid was my grandpa's elementary mechanics book, where it just talks about using gravity as a force of measurement for weight, and a body at rest stays at rest. The laws of thermodynamics, and I have a problem with the second law of thermodynamics. This idea that you can't generate free power. I don't believe it. And I'm working on it myself right now, actually. I've got an old generator, and I built a three-phase motor controller for, an alternate. All motors are generators. All generators are motors. Mm-hmm. So I've got these, AC Delco alternators. You put in permanent magnets, turn it into an AC motor. Now tell me why that shouldn't be able to turn a bigger motor that makes enough power to cover both that and something to use. They say second law of thermodynamics. So far, they're right. And if it turns out to be divine, it's divine. I'll accept that. But I'm not buying anything they tell me anymore, because at first, when COVID came out, I was still asleep, like everybody. And I put the gloves on, and I used the masks as an advertising, opportunity. I got the San Francisco Forklift on the masks.
Yeah.
And I went to go get gas. I went to use the bathroom. I put gloves on. I opened the door. I went in the bathroom and realized, oh shit, you have to take the gloves off. Okay, fine, take the gloves off. Well, don't put them in your pocket. Might have COVID on them. Throw them in the garbage can, use the bathroom, now what? Well, this particular bathroom isn't up to the 20th century, so you had to physically turn the water on. That's not good. Okay, and then fine, we get past that, wash, use the water, dry. Now what, you touch the door? And it just dawned on me there would be absolutely no way to stop a virus. There'd be no way. We touch things as humans to see if it's hot or cold, to see if it opens. We touch everything, right? There's no way. I stopped wearing the mask. I stopped giving a damn about it. To this day, I don't know anybody that died of COVID. I don't know anybody that knows somebody that died of COVID. Some people say, yeah, so-and-so. Anybody directly in your life that you know, a friend, a direct family member. I've met a couple people that insist, yes, my brother, my sister, my mom. Okay, sure. My mom died in 2020. Of a respiratory, and she didn't have any respiratory. She was an alcoholic. She had cirrhosis of the liver. She died of something respiratory, airborne, but it wasn't COVID.
Did they say it was COVID?
No, they didn't try to, but I heard that other people were. I can't prove that. I think it's the vapes. If you remember a while back, they had those vapes that were destroying kids' lungs.
Oh, the popcorn lung?
Yeah, so they banned those. They didn't disappear. They went to the black market. They went to the poor neighborhoods, and my mom was, destitute and bought a whole bunch of them for a good price, and I think that's what did it.
Oh, shit.
It all lines up. But it was amazing to me that we had all this stuff. They wouldn't let my brother in because he had a temperature at the time. They wouldn't let my kids into the hospital, say goodbye to grandma. Like I said, to this day, I don't know anybody that died of COVID. But Danielle and Joy got COVID, according to the test, but were not sick, didn't have any symptoms or anything. And me and Elijah never got COVID. And I was around people, no mask. I mean, you got to remember, I dealt with companies. So I would see 7 to 10 companies a day. Each of these companies had anywhere from 5 to 10, 15 to 20 people there. I came into contact with hundreds of people every single day.
Yeah, I had COVID, I think, this is right before COVID, right? It was late 2019.
Right.
It was because they shut down everything in March of 2020, right?
It's terrifying.
So I would say probably November of 2019, I was sick for a whole week. And it wasn't a respiratory thing, but it was oh my God, I'm gonna die. And my wife was binge watching The Good Place.
Oh yeah.
And you know how they have that little segue songs turn.
Oh yeah.
That sound instantly brings me back to COVID. That's the COVID sound to me.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Everybody's got their trauma, response to that. So that is a small part of the reason I started this company was I was in across the bay at what's that little boating town that's on the other side of in Marin? It's starts with an S. Gosh darn it, Sausalito.
Sausalito, yeah.
So I was in Sausalito, and the skies were red, and everybody was wearing masks, and the whole world was shut down. And I was like, "This is it."
Was that during the smoke?
Yeah. And I was like, "This is it. It's the end of the world." Like for sure. I've always been at the end of everything, the end of heavy metal, the end of, the end of everything, right? So I figured that's just a theme. It must be the end of the world. So screw it. I'm going to start a business. I mean, the world's going to end anyway, right? Who cares if it's going to be successful or not?
And then you're like, damn, now I'm stuck with this business.
Well, the same thing happened to me.
I'm stuck working for myself.
Yes, it was a nightmare. I hated working for myself, at least in California. I mean, I love the freedom. I told everybody who would listen, yeah, I got my own company. I'm a homeowner too. How do you like that? And for a homeless kid from juvenile hall, it was a pretty big accomplishment, man.
Yeah.
For anyone,
especially today.
Let alone years and years of trauma. Literally all the other kids I was in juvenile hall with are dead, in prison for life, or still currently on drugs on the streets. Hence the reason I'm the star witness in this case against the San Mateo County juvenile hall system.
Because you're the only one with relative credibility.
Yes, and was kind of directly involved. I learned for the first time that your brain can hide things from you. I had whole events in juvenile hall that I hid from myself as a matter of surviving. I remember specifically Dominiconi. I was on suicide watch and I was banging my head against the door. And they took all my clothes, put me in a paper gown, and I was like, I can still kill myself. And I was trying to choke myself with the paper gown, right? Paper gown. I was a hurt kid, man. And
but you'll have your bits and pieces hanging out then.
I didn't care. You're right. I was raised by a hippie, bro. My mom only wore clothes because she legally had to, And, I've never, I don't care. Your opinion means nothing to me. So, you don't like me, you can not like me over there on the moon. You're the one who doesn't like me. I'm not going to lose sleep over that. Mm-hmm. And, I don't care what anybody thinks. And there's something creepy about putting a 15-year-old kid in a room naked with a camera on him. And then so Dominiconi came, and this was just kind of life-altering realization of trauma. Is 2 years ago. This lawyer comes to me, Michael, of course, Michael, biblical name, angel. Everybody in my life is Michael. He goes, "Don't you remember the way that Mr. Dominiconi looked at you? Do you ever remember he brought you to the showers the long way?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't till you just said that. Why wouldn't he just go right around the desks to the showers? Why did he go all the way? Because he didn't want them seeing him bringing me the showers." All these memories started flowing in. I didn't take it seriously. He goes, "Look, later, as the memories come in, just remember you're safe." And of course, I got to get gangster. Man, I'm safe, bro. AR-15, bro. I'm always safe, man. You know that. I'm a warrior. And I was in tears later as I remembered all this stuff that my brain hid from me, particularly the night that I was struggling really bad. I had banged my head on the glass till my head was bleeding, and he came and he brought me a peanut butter jelly sandwich. And it wasn't Statish, it was a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I hadn't seen my mom in 3 years, and that meant a lot to me. It was bait, and I didn't even know it.
Oh, shit.
The chair inched closer and closer until he was in my cell. And 2 other staff members came in and they were like, "Get out. And then they were yelling at him, and I didn't know what he did wrong. Well, all these years later, he's been accused by multiple kids of molestation, outright rape. Nobody cared about those kids in solitary confinement. You could go down there and do whatever you wanted with those kids, and nobody cared. It was off to the side of juvenile hall. It was away from other staff. It was a dungeon. No windows in these rooms. And so the story I'm leading up to is 1999, Y2K. I was in that cell for Y2K, and they said the world was going to end, and I was really hoping it would. And midnight came and the lights went out, and I'm like, "Yes, bring it on, fuck this place," right? And the lights came back on, and I was still in juvenile hall, and I was like, "Damn, I'm not gonna believe shit these people tell us now," because it wasn't the end of the world at all. And that's kind of what happened here. I was like, "Well, 2020, this is it. It's the end of the world."
And then they had the 2012 thing, right? Remember 2012? Yeah. That was supposed to be like the whole Mayan calendar thing. Nothing. Hey, Mayans, you got it wrong.
I got out of prison in 2011. So, I was thinking, damn, I only got 1 year to enjoy my life before the world ends. No, it didn't end at all. And I got off parole with no violations, I'll have you know, right on time.
Hey, and
I got out of prison without getting any extra time, too, which is exceedingly difficult. Because you're going to be involved in some shit eventually, and some shit went down there, especially gladiator school, man. I lost that tooth. Some people got stabbed.
So Gladiator school.
Yeah, that's what it is, man. You're going to fight or you're going to get the fuck off the yard, and that means kicking your ass off the yard or stabbing you off the yard. So the people think that this isn't true. I don't get these jokers. If you haven't been to prison, you don't know. Charlie Ogg, he came out of prison. He went to prison before I did, and he was a totally different person. And I used to ride him about, but you're not in prison anymore. And then I found out, because I have never been the same. I will never be the same. That Chad's dead. The kid that went to prison didn't have any tattoos, right? This is all my ink. I made all this ink out of baby oil. You build these candles out of soda cans. You put them on the bottom of your rack just so that the smoke goes like this, and you move them every 5 minutes. You get these piles of soot, and you mix it perfectly with water. Not too much, not too little. You get the right consistency, and it's darker than tattoo shop ink. It's all my favorite stuff. Wrench Monkey, 32 Ford sedan.
Volkswagen, huh?
But it is Volkswagen, and that is my first Beetle with Rat Fink in it, hauling ass on the wrong side of the road under the moon, which is the VW, and an oxyacetylene torch right here that runs up the back. And also, I used to sew sneak up pouches in people's pants so they could sneak me the ingredients I needed to make alcohol. No Pruno. And
what an enterprising young gentleman.
Bro, I've always been like that, man. I need something, I'll figure out a way to do it, make a business out of it, and put other people to work doing it for me.
Hustler.
And so I've got Thumper, BBH. Shout out to BBH. Barbarian Brotherhood out of 707. He did this all freehand. He didn't lay down a pattern or nothing. And there's a stitch here for every year that I've been incarcerated, which is 8 stitches in all. 30% of my life was spent in jail. 3 years in juvenile hall, 2 failed group homes, 2 separate county years, and a 4-year term, which I should not have done, in my opinion. But the dude spit in my wife's face and called her a cunt. He swung at her.
When did this happen?
2008, 2007. It happened. And I chased him out into the street on Whipple Avenue, bro, at 8:30 in the morning. People are all lined up in traffic, right? And I chased him out. Lucky punch knocked my brother to the ground, which is funny because he's actually the more violent of us. He's very quiet, very subdued, sit in the corner and watch the party, and then take all your wallets at the end of it. But when pushed, like scary violent. He got jumped by 3 Northerners who had knives and cut him in the eye. He beat them so fucking bad they pressed charges on him. I'm like, bro, don't start no shit, it won't be no shit. How do you turn around and press charges on my brother? He walked away with a small cut. One of them was in a coma for a week, and the other 2 had serious injury. And it's from being a broken kid, all of that comes out. Because our mom beat the shit out of us, bro. Tied our hands behind our back and locked us in the closet for days at a time. She head checked me off the dining room table. She would choke us till we passed out. CPS was in our life because of the scratches on our neck from her choking us and like trying to kill us in her drunken blackouts and then just walking away. Like, no big deal. And then she'd do some minuscule thing. Oh, this is because I love you. We hated her. I hated her.
What the fuck?
You ever read a child called It?
Yeah.
A Man Called Dave?
Yeah.
That was my life.
Fuck, man. That's a rough one.
We went through that. She would lock us in a room for days. And then when we had to use the bathroom under the bed, she'd beat the shit out of us for it. And I mean, it was horrendous. I made it as far as Bakersfield one time, bro, trying to run away from home. Where incidentally, I ran into corn before they were corn. That year, like the next year, they were all over. I was like, "What? We just met those guys!" But, and Jonathan Davis, three-legged
That was
cat.
when they had the R the right way.
Yeah. Well, and he got a 3-legged cat, and a lot of people don't know that. It's kind of a little personal detail that I throw out there so people can confirm. You know what I'm saying? They were local stoners. We smoked weed with them and moved on, and nothing special, And then the next year, we're like, hey, we know that guy, man, the guy with the dreads. We smoked weed with him. I would have stayed gone. I would have kept going. I was going to travel the United States, but my buddy wanted to go back home. So you miss my mom.
What the fuck?
All right, yeah. And he's like, come on, you have to get me back home. I'm like, but we were running away, bro. What? We were all the 15, man.
Well, then now you had to run back.
Yeah, we did. I did not want to go back. And my mom was like, I knew you'd come back.
Oh, shit.
Fuck you, lady.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah. I told her, when you say you're sorry to my mom, she'd go, yeah, you are sorry. Sorry, piece of shit. You're the reason me and your dad broke up. No, it's you. You definitely did that yourself. I would have an older brother named Gabriel, who's now my angel, who's probably standing here if I could see with those eyes.
Shout out Gabriel.
Shout out Gabriel and Michael. He was born 2 weeks premature and died 12 hours after birth because she used cocaine and drank during the pregnancy. Fuck. Like the entire pregnancy. So, yeah, she's a psychopath. She lied to me about my dad's history my entire life. I just recently found out in the last 2 years, I was looking at pictures of my dad and noticed he was wearing full fatigues. I knew he was in Vietnam. My mom said he went because he committed a murder or some kind of serious crime and they forced him to. No, he was an elite airborne ranger. Not specifically ranger, but trained specifically for Vietnam. And I found out because in one picture, I'm like doing something with him, and don't get it twisted. He's a child molester too, but my mom really did the damage. And he has got these double-headed snake that's coiled up with a unit number underneath it. And I looked it up, and like hardly anybody in the world has that tattoo. It was a very elite, very secretive group. And my mom straight up lied about that, took it to her deathbed, and I mean, she was such a fucking terrible person. Cold showers. She mixed bleach and what's the other one?
Ammonia?
Yes, in a cup and put it in the bathroom and locked me in the bathroom. You're like trying to sarin gas me or something. She even locked me in the garage one time on my birthday, and then came out like, "Oh, it was a surprise for your birthday." I was not falling for it. I was all of 8 years old. It's horrendous. The last time she ever touched us was when I started to get violent. I heard her beating my brother, and I just had enough. My wife remembers the story and can corroborate. I kicked open the bedroom door. It swung open, and it broke a mirror. My mom always tells about it, and you broke my mirror. Never mind that you were beating my brother with a metal file, like for sharpening blades that was this long. She had it in her hand, and she was coming down again, and I told Mason, run. He ran under my legs and out, and I grabbed her up, and I said, if you ever touch either one of us again, I will kill you. I will take your life from you. Do you understand? And she never touched us again after that. And then tried to set my grandma's bed on fire, got charged with elderly abuse and put in rehab, and then tried to act like.
Was your grandmother in it?
Yes.
What? That's worse.
My grandmother was a sweet lady, man. She never missed a day of church, even when she was bedridden. The pastors came to the house. She was very pious. So was my grandfather. He was on the team of engineers that designed Candlestick Park.
Hey.
Yeah, he actually.
Candlestick.
Yeah,
right there.
Oh yeah. He hated it. Most people that were on the design hated it, and they hated the location.
Yeah.
And the first postman in San Francisco lived, where you're passing through Brisbane into San Francisco, and there's that lagoon off to the left. That used to be a mobile home park for soldiers coming back from World War II.
Yeah.
And right on the other side, on the bay side, used to be a road that led to the postman's house. And he petitioned the city for an address, and my grandfather got to set up, the address and the house numbers and everything before they demolished it all. And it was one Audsley way. For my grandpa was Richard Audsley. He also had a gold medal from a Medal of Honor from the city of Redwood City for helping a cop in front of Sequoia High School wrestle a sawed-off double-barrel shotgun from a guy who was trying to kill the cop. My grandpa ran over there because he was at church and St. Peter's across the street from Sequoia. And helped the cop wrestle the gun out of the guy's hand. And somehow my mom ended up the way she did. Raised by...
Damn, how does that happen?
She's adopted, and there was something creepy going on between her and Grandpa. He was a stand-up guy on the outs as far as I could see, but I found letters that were like, and Daddy loves you, and talking to himself about himself as Daddy in the third person. It's exceedingly creepy. I don't care if they say that's how they talked back then or something. It's weird. And, she was an adopted kid. And it makes sense that she turns around and becomes a pedo mom, which is where I know about all this stuff because I've looked into this. And I've found an alarming number of women that are accused of sexual battery. And look now, all these female teachers that are sleeping with these teenage kids. Again and again and again in the news. It's so quiet. A guy does something and it's all over. It's big news. The woman does something, they're like, yeah, women slept, because we tend to, especially our generation, tends to be like, all right, dude, he got some.
Well, especially because now, you see that, and you're like, damn, that teacher's kind of hot. But
yes.
You're like, fuck, because you think the teachers that we had were not, right? I always remember,
I did have one at Selby Lane who was banging, and she drove a LeBaron. It's a LeBaron.
LeBaron. Was it convertible?
Yes, it was.
They're all convertibles, right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
And if you've ever seen what are those two guys that do the movie where they're in the mall, and Ted and Eric, if you remember, or Tim and Eric, if you remember that. Oh, I got to show.
Was that Mallrats?
No, not Mallrats. It's Tim and Eric, and then they did their own side comedy. Tim and Eric say, "Great job." It's some obscure. I'm into really obscure comedy, and like B-rate stuff. These guys are hilarious, but they do a skit where they're like, and guess what I got for the promotion? a LeBaron. And she had sex with 2 students that had just gone to high school that was in 8th grade on our 8th grade Yosemite trip. And we were all aware of it. We were all aware that they went in that tent and the 2 of them had sex with her. And so as an adult now, I would be livid. I'd be at that school like, this bitch needs to go to jail.
Yeah.
Equal rights, right? Okay, we're all equal. Then your ass is a fucking sex offender now.
Well, that's what it is.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, you say it's not abusing a kid, but, here we go with a very controversial topic that I have something to say about because I've been caught in the fucking middle of it. The majority of the states, the consenting age is 16. And the ones that are 18, which are the minority, people go crazy about it. Oh, an 18-year-old isn't developed as a 36-year-old. Then why do we send 18-year-olds to war? Because I was developed enough at 14 to be stealing shit out of cars, smoking weed. As soon as my mom passed out, we knew you could tell when she was drunk breathing. And we'd slide the window open and bounce. Me and my buddies would meet down the street at the school and smoke the Virginia Slims we stole from the Abu Dhabi kid's house. We walked right past his parents doing their facing the East Prayer and went up on the washing machine and got the whole carton of cigarettes out of the bucket. We were fucking punk kids. We were punks. And we'd tape 5 of them together and smoke them all at the same time because Virginia Slim, right?
Yeah.
And anyway, I mean, I was aware of what I was doing. I knew exactly what I was doing. I pulled a knife on Rebecca Fitzwater, and that was my first felony. The first time I learned that cops will lie to you. They go, look, because they couldn't find the knife. I gave it to my Mexican homeboy in Spanish class, and I go, look, bro, if I don't come back, that's yours. But if I come back, I want it back though, right? It's a nice knife. And 2 campus security guards and a police officer showed up. We're here for Mr. Griffith. I was like, yeah, that's right. I'm getting arrested because I'm a badass. As soon as I was in the cop car, I'm like, is my mom going to come? So where am I going to get? But the judge saw my mom showed up drunk for court.
Oh, shit.
And back then, early 90s, they'd ask you okay to go home? Okay, straight out of Dodge. And now it's an automatic arrest for DUI. She showed up and she was like, swerved. And the judge looks at her and goes, well, I think I see the problem here. And, and regardless, you're responsible for your actions, and so this is what we're going to do. And just glared. I mean, if looks could kill, she would. But they let her go with my little brother, let her go back and get in the car. And the second time and only time she ever visited me, she showed up drunk and got in a fight with the double doors. Because you got to come in, they lock that door, and then they unlock the inner one, right? Yeah. And she couldn't figure it out. She's like swerving. She's getting mad. And my brother's like in diapers. And they let her drive off. They're all just staring at her, and they let her drive off. And it was sad stuff on my 18th birthday. She came up drunk like that, got in a fight with the doors, made it in somehow. I'm getting released. I've been in juvenile hall for 3 years. I had been in solitary confinement for 10 months, where I learned my most important tool, meditation and yoga, which has absolutely made me the person I am today. Meditation is key. If you have mental problems, if you have trauma, meditation is key. If you're a rape victim, yoga brings your mind and your body back together. You separate when you're raped. And not to tell myself too much, but you separate. You watch it happen from up here. And then you can't really ever get back together. Yoga puts you back together. It's a meditation of the body and the mind at the same time. And as somebody who had to get a hold of his violence or really pay a real consequence. I mean, a long time I was worried I was going to kill somebody and go to prison for life. Yeah. Half my friends were going to prison for life.
Well, it only takes one accident, right? Like I was working at Levi Stadium for the 49ers, and there was a fight in one of the bathrooms.
The Santa Clara 49ers?
Is that what they called now? Yeah, I guess so.
They're not Frisco Niners anymore, bro.
Well, okay, then we can't call the New York Jets or New York Giants the New York anything then, because we got to call them the New Jersey then.
Vegas Raiders.
Well, and and also if we're gonna, the Patriots really had it easy because they can move anywhere around there. And same with the Golden State Warriors. They can move anywhere in California and still be the Golden State Warriors.
They're the Oakland Athletics, not the New York Athletics, right? I'm sorry, the San Francisco Giants, not the New York Giants, right?
No, New York Giants in New York, the football team.
Okay, all right, good point. But the baseball team, the Giants, didn't they start out as New York Giants?
Yeah, then they moved out here, right?
Because and they called them the San Francisco Giants. They didn't keep the New York name. Right. So why do we do it now? Anyway, it's all scripted. The games they're all scripted.
Well, but they can still claim San Francisco, though. Somebody's got to claim it.
Who would want to? The gays claimed it.
Now there's poop claimed it.
And the ultra rich.
There's poop.
What's
everywhere.
funny is I have to stand up for San Francisco. It's not as bad as they make it out to seem. They really smear San Francisco bad. It's getting that way now because they want it to be. Mm-hmm. But it's always been Oakland. Oakland, Richmond has always been the cesspool.
Well, I grew up in Richmond.
Really?
And so it was somewhat bad when I was a little kid, but it's got a lot better.
Borderline, it's Oakland. Oakland's always been, and it sucks because Oakland is awesome. And it's got all the old architecture. I love Oakland, but it's been a crap hole, and now you ain't coming back.
Richmond slightly got better, and Oakland hasn't.
But they're on the verge.
San Francisco's getting worse.
They block everybody from El Cerrito, which is also a very dangerous little area. I literally was just taking cover under an overpass in the rain yesterday on my bike.
Yeah, my elementary school. I went to Fairmont.
No way.
I'm actually going to have I'm trying to have my 4th grade teacher on. Shout out to Mr. Coe. But I'm trying to have him on. He's still there. He was a new teacher when I was in 4th grade. Wow. He's about ready to retire from there. That's wild. You know,
that guy's got stamina, bro. Yeah, to hang in anywhere for that long.
He made this rap song, right? Disney rap song, but it taught you like multiplication.
Oh, cool.
From all of them up to like 10.
It's not
right?
one of those like super cringe parent ones. Like today we're rapping and we are clapping.
It's like an 8 times 7 is 56, and it was a whole song, you know.
I like it.
And it was I wish I remembered the whole thing because my daughter now like that I could for sure use that.
Right, because it's instilled in your brain forever.
Yeah,
you know, conjunction junction, and right. I'm just a bill on Capitol Hill. That's what got me interested in politics. You know, and I started really looking into, you know, and I've got an acute understanding of politics where today people don't. My wife asked me a couple of years ago when I decided that Obama was not good, and I was kind of jumping ship there. She goes, "Are there parties other than Democrat and Republican?" And I'm like, a couple, yeah.
Not any that have any power.
The Communist Party has power. I would say. You know, Tea Party used to have power. Greenpeace used to have power. You know, libertarians used to have power. Most people are libertarian and don't realize it. Anybody that says they're center or votes independent, they don't realize they're libertarian. And the rattlesnake is especially significant because I'm going to mess this up. I always do. Hamilton didn't want the eagle as our national bird, our national animal, because the eagle's a punk. He doesn't hunt for himself. He takes food from other birds, which kind of sounds like America. All right.
Well, also, didn't Benjamin Franklin want the pigeon?
Yep. No, the rattlesnake. The rattlesnake is an honorable creature.
Hamilton wanted that.
He has, yes, both. The rattlesnake has the poison to kill you, but he'll let you know first. Don't step on snake, bro. You're getting too. I'm gonna bite you. Right? It's one of the only animals that warns you before it attacks you. It has no need. There's no reason to do that. Cobras won't.
A bull will.
Right? A bull, yeah, there are some other animals that do, but especially among venomous snakes, they stay quiet and they strike right when you least expect. But he will blatantly let you know that he's there. And to me, that's honorable. Just like that we consider the lion honorable, especially when, you know, compared to the hyena.
Even though a tiger would whoop that ass.
Probably. Yeah, very much. But it's still the honor. You know, they don't kill for pleasure. You know what I mean? And they have kind of strict family rules. You know, I mean, polyamorous, sure. You know, but really no more than 2 or 3 prides. You know,
lions are kind of like the Mormons of the animal kingdom.
I've never heard that before, but that's interestingly right. I mean, yeah, you know what? There's merit to that. I'm gonna have to think about that later. That's good. I've never heard that comparison made. I mean, you know, in the tradition or whatever, the whole polyamorous thing, right? You might say, you know. Yeah. Well, I mean, hyenas definitely are. I mean, a lot. You know, they're what do you call them? Where they're multisexual. What is it called? Oh my gosh, I can't remember right off the top of my head. They are, brain fart. Well, anyway, I mean, they do each other. There's no set rules. They eat the babies. I mean, they're bastards. You know, just like seagulls. I got to watch all the seagulls in prison, and they're assholes, man. I mean, they eat other birds. They eat everything. They're dumb. Yeah, I mean, they're like flying rats, man. I hated. Yeah, they really are. They are. But the finch are cool. They eat the chamomile seeds and get drunk. Yeah, it messes them all up. They know when the seeds are in, and you'll see them come down in groups. and they'll eat the seeds, and then they'll do loop-de-loops and like crash into each other and continue on down. It's really cool to watch them, well,
as long as they're not walking into court. Like
amen to that. Yeah, for your kid.
Yeah.
Who's like, there's a problem here, lady. To finish that story, so she showed up on my 18th birthday. I had no idea that it was my birthday or what day or month it was. They just said, Griffith, you're released. I'm like, oh, must be April. Right. And so I'm walking out, and there she is, and she gave me 2 suitcases and a restraining order and manages to get out the words, you're an adult, you're going to fend for yourself now. And it was April, so it's still raining. All the homeless shelters were full, and I'll never forget the dejected and disappointed look on the staff's face with themselves as they had to tell me, we don't have anywhere for you to go. And I was like, can I just stay here? And they're like, no, because you're over 18. We can't have minors here that are incarcerated. So we're sorry, the system let you down. And there was a female staff I was particularly close to, not like that, but she genuinely cared about the kids. And she was disgusted with herself, with the system. And I had to walk down. I mean, it sounds like a country song, bro. I had to walk down 22 Tower Road in Belmont in the rain with my restraining order tucked into my back pocket and 2 suitcases, and was promptly in county jail in about 6 months. And then again, about a year after that. Because when I got out of county jail, my probation officer was Bonnie Miller, a lady who I had made quite an inappropriate threat to.
That's unfortunate.
I used to cause problems just to wrestle with the staff because a 280-pound man has nothing on a 140-pound 15-year-old. Nothing. And especially because I would get butt naked and cover myself completely in baby oil, and they could not get a hold on me. And I'd go running around and throwing chairs at them, and they would get so mad because some of these guys were like college football players, and they'd try to tackle me, and I would just, my skinny
slip
ass.
out.
Oh yeah, over and over again. I'd go under their legs, and they'd trip on themselves. It was just great, and they'd be. I remember Mr. Sparks laughing. They're like, "You're not helping. Get out! You're encouraging him." And he was like, the kid's little dick's flopping around while he's running around butt naked. 15, right, 14 years old, and so they got tired of playing with me after a while, especially when I kicked the door. We call it who riding. I get on my back and bam, bam, bam on the door, and I kick the door open, right? So they didn't like that at all. And I was kind of a vicious kid. I was violent. Whether I won or not, it didn't matter. I just craved the violence. I craved the pain. That's a part of being molested. Is later on you have this weird thing where I wouldn't say I enjoy pain, but I crave it. Like I do a really rough job. I like the pain. I enjoy it when my hands hurt, when I'm like pushing and especially when there's a product, something beautiful at the end of it, is a massive reward to me. And that's what made me dangerous in fights was if you punched me, you only got me more pissed. I craved it. I almost got off on it. I hope that's not too inappropriate. But I did, and people would say there was rumors about me. They were like, don't punch him because he gets a thrill out of that. People are like, oh, I'm never going to get in a fight with that dude. Right.
It's not the punch you need to be worried about, it's the boner.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no shit, though. There's something sensual. There it is. Not so much sexual, but sensual.
Yeah.
And Mike Tyson says the same thing. There's something very sensual. Everything is in slow motion for me in violence. And I have full control of my brain. I can do anything. I swear I could alter time in the middle of a fight.
Yeah, it does feel like that, huh?
It does. And if you get mad, you totally lose that. Mm-hmm. You become completely blinded by the anger. Mike Tyson said that too. If you go into it angry with emotion, you're done. You lost the fight. You can't. That's why, he's never been in a fight that he wasn't on mushrooms. That's why he's always hugging people after the fight. Everything's symbiotic, bro.
Even this Jake Paul one?
He did that on purpose. Jake Paul needed the money.
Yeah, you think so?
And their buddies. Yeah, I knew he was going to throw the fight before it happened. Well, how humble, bro. Look at his legacy. And he was willing to sacrifice it for a friend. I mean, Jesus said there's no greater love than this, that a man would lay down his life for his friends. Amen. That's why I revere our flag and our soldiers so much. Looking at the flag makes me cry because I think nobody's ever done shit for me in my life. Nothing. I've done it all myself. But those boys died for me without even knowing me. They took a bullet in the chest, in the head, wherever, and they laid their life down for me in the future. And that means all the world to me, and that's why I would defend this country to my death. I'll never give up on America, even if the whole thing's in flames and it turns into a giant toilet bowl. I'm going to stay here. They did. In the Revolutionary War, they didn't know this was going to make it or not, but they fought for us. In Civil War, they didn't know if they were going to win or not, and it was kind of close. Yeah. So, but they fought for us. And some of the soldiers in Vietnam knew that was a pointless war. They were never going to overtake the Viet Cong. There's too fucking many of them. And they're used to that environment, but they fought for us. They laid down their life. And so if I were hit and I was looking up at that flag as I died, I would think, guys, just remember me. So I will, brother. I will definitely remember you guys. It means something. And that's really the last 20 years of my life has been about bringing meaning to my life. I didn't think I was going to live past 30. And here I am killing it at 41. You know, which is,
hey,
I know, I made it, dude.
Look at that.
Fucking shot out and crashing dirt bikes and some crazy other stuff. Yeah.
Still on your stock hips.
Yeah. I've barely even broken any bones, although I'm burned up from a airsoft rifle exploding in my hand.
They do that.
Yeah, well, when you don't get the charge right, it turns out you have to be very careful with the nail set. You know, the nail gun charges, the blank charge. Yeah, that stuff is fast burning powder. So yes, you have to be very, not to give away any secrets on how to reload using illegally bought powder for nail guns, but you heard it here, folks. You got to be careful. It's fast burning powder. Don't use the yellow, red, or black. Those are too powerful, as you can see.
Hell yeah! Well, hey, that's food for thought, huh?
Yeah. Well, it's I don't know if I should give it all out, but you know.
No, you probably shouldn't.
Yeah, well, you and me will talk about it later.
Yeah, we'll talk about it after.
You can buy pieces and you can assemble things that would normally,
like Legos,
once assembled, might be something that you aren't supposed to have. But who's to tell me what I can and cannot have? Give me liberty, give me death. You know, what happened to that? What happened to throwing the tea overboard at 3% tax, bro? We're at 30 now.
I know, isn't that crazy?
It is crazy, but I'm there. I'm like,
their shit.
Let's flip the shit, man.
Flip their shit at 3%.
Oh my God, dude. So the FBI showed up in my house the other day because, I don't know if this might surprise you, I'm on an FBI watch list. Multiple, it seems.
You don't say.
Yeah, can you, it's such a shock.
Wow.
So they come and they go, hey, you're not in trouble. I'm like, good, because this looks official. Right. These guys stay in suits, right? And my ears is, all right, how can I help you? I can close the door. You don't have a warrant, do you? No, it's nothing like that. You made some comments on YouTube. I'm like, so guys that are watching YouTube, and for every one of those cop videos, like on delete laws, for example, I've been reminding people that when law becomes tyranny, rebellion is duty. It's our duty to deconstruct a government that has become tyrannical. And if these cops haven't become tyrannical, I don't know what is. My wife had a gun pointed at her by a cop just a few weeks ago for nothing. I've got a good relationship with OK Lumber next to my shop. I've known them for 20 years. I fixed their forklift. My shop has been next to them for 4 years. I got a Temu drone for $10. This thing's awesome, right? $10. And it immediately goes up, loses connection, and just keeps going.
No shit.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So I'm like, it doesn't respond anymore. And then it tanked into their yard. So they have these cameras and it's really annoying. It goes, you are trespassing. This area has been, monitored and you have been recorded. Please leave the area. And sometimes it does it all night. And I've been just ready to take the fucking thing out. But, I don't want to damage personal property rights.
Naturally.
Right? So it goes over the fence. I'm in fluorescent orange Mako hoodie. And I jump over the fence and I hear the thing going off. Usually they see me. They know it's me and they shut the alarm off. This time it did something weird. It said, this is Bell Alarm and the police have been called.
Oh, shit.
So I try to say, yo, I'm the neighbor. You know what I mean? Like, these guys know me. I swear I'm not stealing lumber. Like, what the fuck do you think I'm doing? Putting 4x4s on my shoulder and walking them out in the greatest lumber heist of the century? I mean, what? I just break pieces of plywood off? I mean, come on, bro. It's an outdoor lumber yard from the 1900s. I mean, it's nobody's stealing your lumber, guy. So I just figure, no problem. I'm a company owner. I'm an upstanding citizen. I shouldn't have anything to be afraid of. I'll just talk to the cops when they get here because the cops are your friends. And there's only a few bad ones, right? It's not all of them. Sure. Well, that turned out to not be right. So they show up and they don't know where my shop is. It's kitty corner in the back, on the back of a back, which is great because I do whatever I want back there. No noise limit. It's an industrial zone. So that's great because I make loud sounds that sound like a rifle going off, and nobody ever responds. There's no shot spotters or anything, so it's great. I get to have all the American fun I want to out there, and I've gone over the fence before. So here comes the cop car, and I go, hey, I just want to let you know it's me. I triggered the alarm. I own this business here. The guy completely ignores that. 2 other cops are coming in from the street, right? The dude immediately is like, who are you? Get down. I'm like, no. Hold on, man. I'm the one who set the alarm off. What are you doing here? Stop. I like how you're escalating. You're supposed to be de-escalating, but that's cool. I'll de-escalate. This is my shop. I've known these guys for 20 years. What's your shop? You see the big yellow letters on the wall that are fluorescent, like glowing in the night? I've actually got a light on it at night. It says San Francisco Forklift. You see how the shirt says San Francisco Forklift? That would be me. And we have a rapport. And so he gets up and he's like, he's telling me to shut up and all this stuff. And I'm like, no, you don't fucking tell me what to do, bro. You're law enforcement. I'm telling you that there's no crime here. I'll give you my ID, bro, because you're suspecting me of a crime. That's all right. You have reasonable, articulable suspicion, don't you? He starts to notice, maybe we shouldn't mess with this guy. While I'm not looking, my wife is standing in like sweat, in like pajamas. She's a woman. She's obviously unarmed. She's just standing there minding her own business, right? And I have this all on my security cameras. This dude, G.I. Joe here, comes running. I mean, I've been talking to this cop for a good 5 minutes. It's de-escalated. The original clash has died down. I'm trying to explain to him what's going on. He's trying to cop-explain to me why he's, not being a tyrant. And it's fine. I'll let a guy win the argument at the end of the day just to not have friction. So I'm trying to de-escalate the situation. And this guy comes running down the driveway like, "Oh, stay with you, brother." Like, what are you running to? He gets to the container, aims his gun at me, realizes there's a lot in the way, purposely. My yard's set up like Call of Duty. I've got it all planned out. I've been waiting for this moment, right? So they didn't know some things were right nearby. They might have acted differently if they had. But anyways, no need for that. No lives are in danger. There's no need for that, right? I don't choose violence. I used to. I don't now. And this is unnecessary. I'm just trying to tell him, dude, my $10 Temu drone crashed. I mean, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
I've known these guys for, half my life. And so he opens the gate, right? Don't know what gives you the permission to do that, but we'll let that slide. And with his gun drawn, comes running down the driveway, sees my wife, points it at her and goes, "Who are you?" My wife has never even been pulled over before. She's a daycare teacher. She's like, she's Mrs. Nice. This terrified the shit out of her. She's shaking. And I'm like, bro, you hear me go off. I go, "You stand down. There's no lethal threat here. You're not any better than me. You don't have any different rules than me. You're acting like a tyrant." "No, I'm not." "Yes, you are. This is tyranny." "What does your California use of force say?" "You're supposed to at least pull your taser first, my man. You come running. Is the safety on in that thing?" Right? And I told him, "Can we trigger discipline, please?" He moves his finger. I'm like, "Bro,
oh, shit.
How close did my wife come to dying for nothing?" San Carlos, people. San Carlos. They got nothing to do but to hold up a business owner who reformed his life and his wife who's never been in trouble. Never mind the 2 kids that are in the container that he doesn't know about, right? You should have seen him do the walk of shame after I just let them have it. This is unacceptable. You're supposed to de-escalate, not me. And then the other cop goes, "You got priors?" I go, "You asking me that tells me that you know I have priors." "I just feel like assault and battery shows me you don't make good decisions." "It should show you I don't fuck around, officer." All right? Yeah. And then he goes, "Knife." I go, "You damn right it's a knife. And it's openly displayed in its sheath right here like it should be. You got any other smart remarks? You got any other attempts to escalate the situation, boss?" And I tried to grill him about his wife, but it turns out he doesn't have a wife. He's twice divorced. What a surprise. An angry, aggressive cop can't make it with a female. I was just a shocker. And then look, it's tyranny. It's tyranny. People are terrified of the cops. People are getting shot for no reason with no arms on them. Can I pull a weapon on somebody when I'm not in lethal danger? I wouldn't, even if I were allowed to have guns, which, excuse me, it says shall not be infringed. Where in that text do you see the separation of people and people who've committed felonies, all that bullshit? Reformed criminals are more likely to save your life than your ordinary good citizen.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's all the debate, right? I mean, I really can't take a side because all of my
and a tragic boating accident. Every time I buy a new gun, I got to go try it out on the boat, and then there it goes, old butterhands.
It's like they're magnets to water.
I can't believe it. I went down there and somebody must have got them. They're gone.
It's crazy.
Unbelievable. Just like our CIA, right? There's those guys lost a whole bunch of guns.
Well, I think on that note, well, you gotta come by. We gotta have another one of these.
Do we have time to finish the business story real quick?
I gotta take a piss real quick.
Oh, dang it! All right, pause for pee. Yeah. So, I took a handful of Eldorado's customers with me. No hard feelings. Came back, bought a lot of parts from them. got into a great working relationship. I figured so many things out. I got my EPA license to have the waste oil because in California it's considered a hazardous substance, which I agree. I agree. I mean, you dump that oil anywhere, it seeps right through the soil. So, as much as I love machines, I love my earth too. And I mean, all these different things. I built a bunch of used oil burner heaters to heat the shop with, which was an answer to, instead of paying $150 to get rid of my used motor oil, I burn it up in the heaters, which is going to be critical as we move to Arkansas where it snows.
Oh, yeah.
And I've got like 700 gallons of used oil right now.
It does snow there?
Yeah, I think so. Some of the pictures, it looks like there's at least light snow, and it at least gets colder than California. I know that for sure. Of course, I'm a newbie at this. This is the biggest change of my life ever, from 41 years in Redwood City to Arkansas, of all places. But half an acre of wooded land for $3,000, I'm not finding that anywhere else.
Damn, $3,000, huh?
$3,000, bro. All said and done.
Wow, that's a hell of a bargain. $3,000.
Half an acre. And I have one person down the street and no neighbors for like 15, 20 minutes. And you got, they have the weakest gun laws of any state in the United States. So nothing's restricted out there, and good, because who's going to, and